going to explain you about landforms and waterforms of the Earth. Earth is the only planet that Earth is the only planet in the solar system that supports life. As you all know, Earth is made of 70% water and 30% land. There are different types of waterforms and landforms on the Earth. First, let us start from the landforms. These are the landforms of the Earth. Number 1, mountains. 2, valleys. 3, hills. 4, coastal areas. 5, deserts. 6, islands. 7, forest. 8, plains. 9, polar regions. Let us understand one by one. Number 1, mountains. Mountains are very tall and high natural landforms on the Earth. The largest mountain in the world is the Mount Everest. Number 2, valleys. Do you know what are valleys? A long low land that lies between mountains or hills are called valleys. Coming to the next landform, that is the hills. Hills are natural landforms that are higher than the surrounding areas. Hills are smaller than the mountains. It often rains in hilly regions. So houses in hilly regions have sloping roofs to drain away the rainwater. Do you know what are landforms? Landforms are the natural features or shapes of the Earth's surface. I will show you what a sloping roof is. This is the sloping roof. When it rains, the rainwater will drain away. So, the rainwater will drain away easily. So, did you understand? Okay. Number 4, coastal areas. Land near to sea or oceans are called coastal areas. The climate is warm and the air is wet in coastal areas. This is because in coastal areas people sweat a lot. Even though the coastal areas are near the sea or ocean. Trees like coconut trees grow well in these coastal areas. Look. The climate in coastal areas are warm and the air is wet, so people sweat a lot. I have drawn a small picture of coconut tree and ocean or sea. So this is the coastal areas and this will be ocean or sea. Next is deserts. Do you know what are deserts? Deserts are vast, hot and dry landforms on the Earth. The land is covered with smooth sand. Very little rain. In desert areas, there are there is very little rainfall and vegetation. Very few animals and people live in deserts because of the extreme hot and dry climate. The most common animals seen in the desert areas are camels and rattlesnakes. Plants like cactus grow well in desert areas because they need little amount of water. The next landform is the island. Do you know what is an island? These landforms are completely surrounded by sea or ocean water. In some islands are inhabited by people. People live in some islands, so there will be life in some islands. Coming to the next landform, that is the forest. Forests are a large part of land with plenty of different kinds of plants, trees and wild animals. It mostly rains in the forest regions. In some places, forests are also warm. The next landform is the plains. Do you know what are plains? Plains are vast areas of flat lands. Most people live in plains. Do you know why? Because we can build houses or other buildings, and also we can cultivate crops and travel easily on the flat lands. So this is why many people live in plains. What about climate? Depending on the season and region, plains are either hot or cold. The last landform I am going to explain you about is the polar regions. The landforms that are always covered with ice and snow are called polar regions. Do you know? People also live in polar regions. These people are called Eskimos. They cannot live in houses like we do. They live in a special house made of ice cubes or ice blocks. This house is called igloo. The most common animals seen in polar regions are polar bear, Arctic fox, seal, walrus, snow rabbit, etc. Trees like fir trees grow well in polar regions. I hope you understood about the landforms of the earth. Next, we are going to learn about the waterforms of the earth. There are many different waterforms on the earth. Let's have a look. Number 1, waterfalls. Number 2, rivers. Number 3, lakes. Number 4, ponds. Number 5, sea. Number 6, ocean. Number 7, underground water. Number 8, ice and snow. Now I will explain you about the waterforms. Number 1, waterfalls. A fresh flowing water body from a highland naturally is called a waterfall. The water from the waterfall join the rivers. Next, water form we are going to learn is the rivers. Rivers are long fresh water bodies that flows through mountains and plains into the ocean or sea. Do you know how a river is formed? Snow on the mountain top melts due to the heat of the sun and flow down to the plains to form rivers. The next water form is the lakes. Lakes are fresh water bodies surrounded by landforms. Once again, I will tell you. What are lakes? Lakes are fresh water bodies surrounded by landforms. Lake water comes from river or rainwater. Lakes are surrounded by landforms like mountains, hills, valley, or plains. Let us see the next water form. Pond. What are ponds? Ponds are smaller than lakes. Pond water is also natural water bodies. And it is also surrounded by landforms. The next water form is the sea. Sea is wide and deep water form but smaller than the oceans. Number 6. Oceans. Do you know what are oceans? Oceans are the biggest and deepest water form on the Earth's surface. Both sea and ocean water is salty water. In oceans and seas, there are many marine lives. The next water form is the underground water. Rainwater is also stored under the Earth's surface in the form of underground water. This is also fresh water forms. Examples of underground water is the water that we get from tube wells, bore wells, etc. Coming to the last water form, that is the ice and snow. A large amount of water is stored in the form of ice and snow in polar regions. This ice and snow water is also fresh water forms. I hope you understood about landforms and the waterforms. Thank you.